Here are today's top stories. The Valenzuela RTC junks the drug-related charges against the accused in the smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu. The COMELEC reminds candidates of the barangay and SK elections to follow the rules during the campaign period. Malacanang vows to get justice for the murder of provincial broadcast journalist Edmund Sestoso. And establishments along Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park are given 90 days to remove their illegal structures. Good day, I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Roses Morato. Welcome to the PNA Newsroom.
The Valenzuela Regional Trial Court has dismissed charges against the 9 accused in the smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu.
However, the accused will still have to face similar charges filed against them in Manila. Here's a report.
The Valenzuela Regional Trial Court has dismissed the drug charges filed against 9 persons including Chinese businessman Chen Julong alias Richard Tan and customs broker Mark Taguba in connection with the 6.4 billion peso shipment of illegal drugs last year. However, the accused will still have to face trial for similar drug charges refiled by government prosecutors before the Regional Trial Court of the City of Manila. In a 9-page order, Valenzuela RTC Branch 284 Presiding Judge Arthur Melicor granted the motions filed by Julong, Taguba, and customs broker TJ Marceliana to dismiss the complaint on the grounds of forum shopping. Melicor said that the state prosecutors have filed a drug importation case before a Manila court with the same set of accused and based on the same arguments after it was earlier dismissed by another Valenzuela court for lack of jurisdiction. The case stemmed from the discovery of the shabu shipment at the Hongfei Logistics Warehouse in Valenzuela City on May 26, 2017 by the Bureau of Customs based on a tip from the Anti-Smuggling Bureau of China Customs. The 604-kilogram shabu shipment is one of the biggest hauls of smuggled drugs in the country and was the subject of a lengthy congressional probe which also led to the resignation of former Bureau of Customs Commissioner Nicanor Faldon. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
Today marks the beginning of the campaign period for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan elections. The campaign period set by the COMELEC runs from May 4 to May 12. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez reminds candidates to follow campaign rules such as the common poster area. He says posting of campaign materials is illegal outside of the common area in public places and on private properties without the consent of the owners. Allowed campaign paraphernalia include pamphlets size 8.5 by 14 inches and below, posters not exceeding 2 feet by 3 feet, paid ads, and other propaganda not prohibited by the Election Omnibus Code. Any published or broadcast propaganda must be identified by the payer or the candidate benefiting from them. Candidates and their supporters are also encouraged to recycle their campaign materials. Jimenez said the rules are made to maintain a fair playing field and prevent others from taking unfair advantages.
United States Ambassador to Manila Sung Kim expresses confidence that Washington will consider mediating in a diplomatic spat between the Philippines and Kuwait. Kim said he recognizes Manila takes strong interest in the protection of Filipinos overseas and are working hard to make sure that receiving countries treat them fairly. He said someone has yet to approach them to play as third country mediator. Kim is, however, optimistic that the two countries will be able to iron out their issues and revive normalcy in their relations. Diplomatic tension between Manila and Kuwait escalated in April following rescue operations of distressed Filipino workers led by the Philippine Embassy.
Justice Secretary Menardo Guevara said that they will study the provisional coverage of the Witness Protection Program of the alleged pork barrel scam mastermind Janet Lim Napoles. Guevara said the coverage of Napoles will expire on May 26, 3 months since she was admitted to the program last February. He said that he would look into Napoles' eligibility as state witness in the pork barrel cases based on the affidavit she submitted to the Department of Justice, where she implicated more names in the controversy. Napoles' provisional admission to the WPP covers security protection for witness duty only. Her request for transfer to a warehouse has been repeatedly denied by the Sandigan Bayan, which has jurisdiction and control over her person. Former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre confirmed Napoles' admission into the Witness Protection Program after she executed an affidavit on the misuse of the Priority Development Assistance Fund last February 27.
The resolution of the Department of Labor and Employment for the regularization of over 7,000 workers of the Philippine long-distance telephone company is now final and executory. DOLE is directing the company and its contractors to grant their employees regular employment status and pay workers monetary benefits amounting to 51.6 million pesos. Labor Secretary Sylvester Bello III has denied PLDT's motion for reconsideration on its resolution issued last January 10. DOLE reiterated its directive for contractors found to be labor-only contractors to cease and desist from further engaging in contracting activities. DOLE regional directors were ordered to initiate the appropriate proceedings against erring contractors based on the issued resolution. In July 3 and July 12, 2017, the DOLE National Capital Region found PLDT and its contractors to be engaged in labor-only contracting activities and violating general labor standards.
Still to come, Malacanang vows to get justice for the murder of provincial broadcast journalist Edmund Sestoso. A mall fire drives Balanga City in Bataan close to a state of calamity. These and more when the PNA Newsroom continues.
I hereby declare Marawi City liberated from the terrorist influence that marks the beginning of rehabilitation of the people.
Task Force Bangon Marawi leads the comprehensive and integrated rehabilitation of Marawi City and the surrounding areas to rebuild communities left devastated by the Marawi siege.
It's about time for us to unite for the betterment of everybody. Let us think of what is best for the majority and what is best for all Maranauans.
Task Force Bangon Marawi was formed in June of 2017 in coordination with the Marawi City Government, the Provincial Government, and ARMM. The task force improved access to basic services, created economic opportunities, strengthened capacities to help 353,636 displaced persons. By March of 2018, Task Force Bangon Marawi helped more than 73,000 families return home and will continue to help all displaced families rebuild their lives in peace, progress, and dignity. With a 5 billion peso budget in 2017, TFBM delivered recovery assistance in 5 areas. Reconstruction cleared and improved road access towards and within Marawi, built pathways, drainage systems, and slope protection in transitory sites and evacuation centers, and water supply for families in evacuation centers. Housing. Task Force Bangon Marawi improved the well-being and safety of families. Electricity and water restored in Marawi City and the surrounding areas. 808 transitory homes completed and awarded. In 2018, 6,174 transitory and permanent homes are targeted to be built. Task Force Bangon Marawi secured the health and welfare of families. Task Force Bangon Marawi also made sure to secure the health and welfare of children.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas sees the Philippine economy advancing through the support of growing industries and a robust service sector. More in this report from Miguel Hill.
The Philippines is on its way to becoming an upper middle income level economy, according to Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas Deputy Governor Diwa Ginigundo. Ginigundo said that the country's growth momentum is being driven by a robust services sector which is supported by growing industries. Based on the categorization of the World Bank in terms of middle-income countries, the Philippines currently belongs to low-middle-income economies. In order to reach the upper middle-income level, Ginigundo said the Philippines will continue to focus on strengthening its services sector and local industries by way of improving infrastructure and human capital development. He said that the government's aggressive spending on Build, Build, Build program will improve infrastructure and connectivity, which in turn will help various sectors become more competitive. It will also attract the private sector to get involved in infrastructure projects, which will translate to more jobs for Filipinos. The Philippines was able to take advantage of the global opportunities that contributed to the success of the services sector, such as the need for skilled workers abroad, outsourcing of business operations, and tourism. In terms of share to the total GDP, services accounted for 58% while industries shared 33%. But in terms of growth, industries already exceeded the expansion of services, the BSP official said, attributing this to the developments in infrastructure, innovation, and human capital. Ginigundo said industry is now fast gaining momentum and this will provide additional drive and support to economic growth. For the PNA Newsroom, I am Miguel Hill.
The Department of Finance, or DOF, expects inflation for the month of April at 4.5%, with sin products contributing substantially to the upward price pressure. In its latest economic bulletin, the inflation forecast for April 2018 is higher than the rate registered in last year at 3.2% and at 4.3% in March of this year. Price pressure on food and non-alcoholic beverages is projected to settle at 5.8%, while non-food items are at 2.9%. Increase in prices of sin products such as alcoholic beverages and tobacco is expected to settle at 24.1%. On the other hand, price movements appeared to be normalizing, with a month-on-month inflation rate declining from 0.52% in March to 0.49% in April.
Malacanang vowed to bring justice for the family of broadcast journalist Edmond Sestoso, who died after being ambushed in April 30. More in this report from Maricor Zapata.
The wife of broadcast journalist Edmond Sestoso was assured of security as palace officials vowed to speed up the resolution of the radioman's brutal murder in Barangay Daro, Dumaguete City on April 30. Palace officials, led by Special Assistant to the President Christopher Lawrence Bongo and Presidential Communications Operations Office Secretary Martin Andanar, visited the wake of Sestoso and extended President Duterte's condolences to the victim's family. Undersecretary Joel C. Egco, Executive Director of the Presidential Task Force on Media Security, was with Go and Andanar in paying their last respects. Go told reporters he ordered Senior Superintendent Edwin Portento, Acting Police Provincial Director, to provide security to the victim's wife Lourdes and the rest of the Sestoso family, after she expressed fears that the killers of her husband would go after her and their family. Go assured Lourdes that everything is being done to identify, arrest, and bring the perpetrators to court. A cash reward of 400,000 pesos has been raised for the arrest of the gunman. Andanar expressed his grief over the death of Sestoso, a colleague he knew during his days as a practicing journalist. Andanar also appealed for any information that could help in the investigation of Sestoso's murder. Ego said the presence of Dumaguete City is not just to visit the wake and condole with Sestoso's family, but to show the sincerity of President Duterte's administration and that this government does not condone violence in the press and media. The fatal attack against Sestoso is reportedly the first against a broadcaster in Dumaguete City. Sestoso hosted his daily block time program, Tug-Anan, on DYGB 91.7 FM. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
The local government of Balanga City, Bataan, is considering to place the city under a state of calamity following the 3-day fire that gutted down the main building of Galleria Victoria Mall. Mayor Francis Garcia said he would ask the city council to place the city under a state of calamity to speed up delivery of services to those affected by the mall fire. He said the city's Public Employment Service Office and the Department of Labor and Employment will conduct job fairs to help displaced workers. The Bureau of Fire Protection announced that the fire, which started on Tuesday morning, was already contained but not yet declared a fire out. Fire Chief Inspector Jaime Robles, Balanga BFP head, said that the fire has almost died down. Firefighting units from 11 towns in Bataan, augmented by firefighters from the Subic Bay Metropolitan Authority, Olongapo City, Lubao, Pampanga, are still in the city. Rows of business establishments around the Galleria Victoria were closed, and the streets in the commercial district are still off limits to vehicles and bystanders.
The Presidential Communications Operations Office led the launching of the construction of the 700 million peso Mindanao Media Hub in Davao City. Special Assistant to the President's Secretary Christopher Lawrence Bongo also participated in the hard hat and the time capsule laying ceremony. Go cited the need for credible and reliable news sources around the country and not just large cities like Metro Manila. He also said the rise of fake news and stranglehold of the elite on the mainstream media have given rise to the importance of alternative sources of information. The ceremony coincides with the celebration of World Press Freedom Day. The 4-story building will house government station PTV4, Philippine Broadcast Service Radyo Pilipinas, News and Information Bureau Philippine News Agency, and the Philippine Information Agency. Presidential Communications Secretary Martin Andanar said the Mindanao Media Hub will be one of President Duterte's biggest legacies as it puts Mindanao closer to the center of governance. The hub is targeted for completion by end of the year or early 2019. Up next, establishments along the Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park are given 90 days to remove their illegal structures. Devotees pay homage to Our Lady of Mount Carmel on its 400th anniversary of arrival in the country. These and more when the PNA Newsroom returns.
Task Force Bangon Marawi with the local government continue to facilitate the safe return of families, including the safe visitation of 11,163 displaced families in the most affected areas. Task Force Bangon Marawi improved food security and boosted income by providing livelihood programs, skills training, and employment. As well as restarted market access. And released zero-interest loans. Security, peace, and order. Task Force Bangon Marawi established rule of law and secured communities. While these service deliveries improved socio-economic recovery, TFBM's land resource management led research and assessments, including surveys of more relocation sites to house displaced families. TFBM efforts were also reinforced by the Information Management and Strategic Communications, Finance and Resource Mobilization, and legal groups. So the task force can strategically implement comprehensive and well-coordinated recovery efforts that respond to the priority needs, aspirations, religion, and customs of the people of Marawi. In 2018, TFBM will continue to lead the long road to recovery and rehabilitation through programs and projects that will continue to be guided by consultations with the people of Marawi, that will build a stronger Marawi and Lanao del Sur that is full of economic opportunities, open to all ethnic and religious groups, and closed to violent extremism.
I will see to it that Marawi will rise as a prosperous city again.
Public Attorney's Office Chief Persida Acosta on Thursday defended a 4.8 million peso budget for the plan and design of a new PAO building. The Commission on Audit report questioned PAO for the payments made last year, even without the supporting documents needed for the release of funds. The PAO entered an agency-to-agency agreement with the National Housing Authority and the Department of Public Works and Highways for the proposed central office building along Commonwealth Avenue in Quezon City. Acosta said that a budget has been allotted under the General Appropriations Act for the plan and design, which was made by the NHA with the approval of the DPWH. She said that PAO might have ended up paying 200 million pesos had it used a private firm for the plans and design.
Some 38 business establishments in Puerto Princesa's subterranean river national park have been given 3 months to remove their illegal structures. The businesses that will be affected by the move include a wellness spa, a shuttle van terminal, beach restaurants, and bars, among others. On the other hand, the relocation of 88 families that are illegally occupying part of the Timberland Classified Area campsite, Purok Dalampasigan 2, Sitio Sabang, will have to wait. Meanwhile, no deadline has been identified by the Protected Areas Management Board for the informal settlers at the campsite, as their occupation of the Timberland is a special story. The park staff will have to ensure that the families follow strict rules on the disposal of their domestic waste to avoid the destruction of the beach in front of their households.
Rain or shine, Elasto Painters scored its third straight win in the PBA Commissioner's Cup by subduing NLEX Road Warriors 98-97 on Wednesday night. A crucial free throw from Reggie Johnson made the difference in the game as the Elasto Painters held off the Road Warriors, featuring a new import, Arnett Moultrie. ROS scored 5 straight points off 2 free throws from Chris Chu and a crucial triple from Jay Washington to take a lead of 97-95. Moultrie got off the ball and forced a 97 all deadlock with 58 seconds remaining. Johnson sank a free throw for the 98-97 lead with 7.8 seconds remaining. Chu swiped the ball from Juami Chongson to save the win for the E-Painters. Johnson collected 27 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks, while Chu and Raymond Almazan each tallied 12 markers for ROS. Moultrie made 24 points, 17 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 block in his debut for NLEX. Ravenna came close to a triple-double with 23 points, 8 rebounds, and 8 assists with 1 steal and 2 blocks.
Devotees of Our Lady of Mount Carmel celebrated today the 400th year for arrival in the country.
For this occasion, the Catholic Church asked the public to pray for the protection of the country and the sanctity of life and family. More on this report.
Members of the clergy and Marian devotees commemorated on Friday, May 4, the arrival of the image of Our Lady of Mount Carmel in the Philippines from Mexico 400 years ago. The religious event began with a fluvial parade that started at 5 a.m. and settled at the Carino Grandstand in Manila, where Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines President and Davao Archbishop Romulo Valles led a mass. One of the highlights of the occasion was the Traslacion, a procession of the image of the Lady of Mount Carmel starting at 8 a.m. On the way back to San Sebastian Basilica, where the image is stationed, the procession passed by Quiapo Church, where the image of the Black Nazarene was brought out for the traditional dungaw, or meeting of the Marian and Christ images. The whole day event was capped by a 6 p.m. Mass and the re-enthronement of the image of the Lady of Mount Carmel at San Sebastian Basilica. The image was then made available for public veneration upon its arrival at the Basilica, the country's iconic and only all-steel church. Archbishop Valles called on the faithful to seek Mary's intercession to protect the Philippines against natural calamities, the ongoing attacks on the sanctity of life and the family, and other serious difficulties. In 1618, the image of Our Lady of Mount Carmel was brought to Manila by missionaries from the Order of Augustinian Recollects. The image was enthroned at the first San Sebastian Church in Quiapo when it opened its doors in 1621. The late Jaime Cardinal Sin canonically crowned the Lady of Mount Carmel in 1991 under the authority of St. John Paul II. The Our Lady of Mount Carmel remains the Queen of San Sebastian Basilica, as well as of the famed Quiapo Church in the Philippines' capital city. For the PNA Newsroom, I'm Maricor Zapata.
Let's now check out the weather forecast for Metro Manila and the rest of the country. Will, do you think that the youth should be participants in nation building?
Yes, definitely. I agree because, just like that age-old school of thought that the youth really are the future of not only the nation, but the world and every community.
So, in speaking of the beginning of the campaign period for upcoming barangay and SK elections, and we're talking about the youth being involved in nation building, pros and cons with USEC Joel Edco will tackle the subject of the relevance of the Sangguniang Kabataan. Let's take another look at today's top stories. The Valenzuela RTC junks the drug-related charges against the accused in the smuggling of 6.4 billion pesos worth of shabu. The COMELEC reminds candidates of the barangay and SK elections to follow the rules during the campaign period. And Malacanang vows to get justice for the murder of provincial broadcast journalist Edmond Sestoso. Establishments along Puerto Princesa Subterranean River National Park are given 90 days to remove their illegal structures. Thank you for watching another edition of the PNA Newsroom. To check out these and other stories, visit the PNA website or follow the Philippine News Agency on Facebook and Twitter.
For more stories about the government and how it serves the Filipinos, look for these hashtags in all of our social media platforms and websites.
And that's your daily dose of the latest news.
And information that you need to know from the PNA Newsroom. I'm William Theo.
And I'm Pia Roses Morato. Good day.